What's good? What's poppin'? This is Nitin, aka Rachnatmak, and today I am here with our special guest, Mr. Gowri Shankar Nagarajan, who is a national record holder for highest.
Number of Pareidolia artworks created by a man.
Yeah, that is really wonderful, and it's such an honor to have you on this
Thank you so
episode.
much, Nitin. Thank you for having me on the show. It's interesting because we have never met each other,
Yeah,
but still we work together. And I was your reporting manager, but we never met. Happy to see you finally in person.
yeah.
And thank you for having me on the show again. So,
I think if we go back little back, right, to the history, like if you remember Sanjay, and that is when the podcast idea came up. Shout out to Sanjay. So that is when this idea came up, and he was like, bring your manager one day to your episode. I was like, okay, we'll think about it. So finally, this is happening. Even though you have left the organization, you still we were able to keep in touch, and I think this is how people connect. It's
yes.
like maybe we all connect for a reason. And so tell us about your art journey. What is Pareidolia art, and what signifies it, like what makes it so different.
See, Pareidolia is nothing but a phenomenon where you see abstract patterns and
Hmm.
you see clouds, you see any random pattern that you come across that is abstract in nature, and your mind immediately tries to identify what kind of pattern it is, and immediately your mind wants to create faces. Right.
Okay.
So that's pareidolia, and all my artworks are based on this phenomenon where
Okay.
uh, I'm able to create random abstract patterns, and from the abstract patterns I'm able to carve out the artwork, the final artwork. So I see faces, I see god faces, I see humanoid faces, and in the end the actual artwork contains this base phenomenon which is pareidolia, and all my artworks are based on this logic. uh, that's what it is.
Okay, so a silly question. Okay,
Yes.
so we have this coffee from Pulse Cafe, right? So that's
Yes.
where we are right now. Pulse Cafe, we buzz in. So, and then I can just, now that you said patterns, that is a cold coffee and this is
Yes.
a cappuccino.
Yes.
And if you see, right, there are some kind of textures in it.
Yes.
And similarly, whenever I look at your art, and it is, it looks so random, but at the same time, it looks so connected.
Yes.
And while scrolling through your Instagram, there were like faces drawn through. So I think that is the whole idea about
Yes. So
pareidolia.
so you see patterns over here.
Huh.
These are these are very random in nature.
Hmm.
What I do is I distort this particular pattern.
Hmm.
When I distort, I'll end up having some kind of phenomenon which
Hmm.
I'm able to identify a phase or a live creature in it,
Hmm.
and then I start carving out the excess in the particular artwork, and then the final output appears. All my artworks contain colors, vibrance, and detail. That is because it's digital.
Hmm.
It's a digital artwork.
Hmm.
So I will be able to zoom in till the last of the pixel and then
Hmm.
add more details, which pops up when you zoom out.
Hmm.
So, so the base or the driving factor to all my artworks is abstractness.
Okay.
I am not a streamlined artist who pictures something, brings it on
Hmm.
canvas. No, I cannot do that. But I'll be able to extract something which is from a random pattern, get out the art by carving out the excess, uh, I would call wastages in the
Hmm.
particular pattern.
So, I mean, what I'm learning from this is that, like nothing in this world is random,
Yeah.
and everything is connected to something. And when
Yes.
it comes to art, you can find art in anything. Like
That's
like
the whole.
it's all about your perspective, like how you view the world. And I think that's also a wonderful lesson for us. Like a lot of the times when we feel really stumbled and like very messed up inside our head, and maybe it's like a random pattern inside our head that is going on, and then uh, you you will not be able to see the final outcome right then and there. So just like this paradolic art, hope I'm able to pronounce it
You're
very
right.
well. So yeah. So it's very similarly at the end the results comes. Something or the other comes. And on that also it has to be who is able to create that thing. So I think that's a good way to understand that, if you're in a mess, let it be. Let that mess be there, and maybe something wonderful can happen. It's a matter of time, and let's
The
have.
next time when you see trees,
Yeah.
clouds,
Mm.
remember that you will be able to identify faces, patterns.
Mm.
So, you know this photo booth app in
Mm.
Apple.
Okay.
So it's very simple. You can take a symmetrical photo.
Mm.
So that's my main tool. I go hunting for trees.
Okay.
When I say hunting, I click pictures. I see that there is a pattern, there is a living creature in it.
Mm.
And that's when I start clearing out the excess in the picture and identify that, okay, there is a creature living in it and I'm able to identify the face.
Yeah. Coming to creature, right? So this is something that I observed also. So ideally, in your page, there is more of a feminine energy or feminine faces, or there is a creature. Like, do you do it like very specifically? Like, is that what comes to you
Is,
visually?
is that what I identify in that particular canvas? So I identify the minute I see some random, from the randomness, a pattern is getting evolved.
Hmm.
I don't know. I won't be able to clarify how it happens, but
Hmm.
immediately I'll get an understanding whether it is a male energy or a female energy, or
Oh.
in certain artworks I was able to bring in both the elements, both the male and the female energy into the artwork. And that is played between light and shadow.
Hmm.
I don't, assign a light energy to goddess, dark energy to god,
Hmm.
but they switch roles in sometimes.
Hmm.
It's all a play of light and shadows that comes into the artwork.
Okay. So yours like so the universe, right? Like, so you feel that you think that it's always like balanced,
Yes.
and there's always this light and dark and light and dark. It's
All
just
my artworks convey the symmetrical balance of life. So
good.
even though I use art as a medium to convey uh, my emotions, you will not find a gore or a dark element that is there that goes into that comes out of the artwork.
Hmm.
It is always light. Light, when I say, not the light-hearted pattern, but it is about the luminescence
Okay.
that creates. So I add more of dark,
Hmm.
and on top of it a layer of light or a luminescence to bring out, or uh, it's actually called a
Okay.
bloom to it. So in the digital workspace, there is an option where you can create a bloom effect on the artworks. Very simple. There are whites in the canvas, white color. That white color can bloom.
Hmm.
So it's a very simple function that is available in all digital workspaces like uh, Procreate, Photoshop, or Sketchbook. I use these kind of softwares. I am not a sketch artist. I cannot do something that I decide. Okay, I need to draw a mountain. I cannot. I need to draw a spaceship or a aircraft. No, I cannot do. I cannot do something that is concrete or constant. It's always abstract.
That is really interesting, and this is something that I've never known before. And even for the people who will be listening to this, it will be like a first time, understanding of this kind of art. And I think it's very rare. And so, people, you need to check out Scribble Labs. It has some crazy and amazing, phenomenal looking artworks, and so I think that gave our viewers an understanding of, what periodic art is.
Pareidolia.
Pareidolia art is. I'm still struggling to pronounce this word, because it's so rare and it's so less seen. And so make sure you go check out the page, and you will get an idea what I'm trying to say and why it is difficult for me to pronounce it, because it is that kind of wild, and at the same time it's so different. Like when I look at the page, I just feel soaked, like soaked into it. It's like the faces are, it's more like, it's just looking at you and you're looking to them, and you have some depth connection to it. I think that's how your page looks.
Thank you.
It's really wonderful. So, what motivated you to start? Like, let's go back to the old times. Like, how did all of this begin?
So, see, as a child, I'm not gonna give a very huge introduction or a brief to it. It's a very short, simple one. I grew up alone. I didn't have siblings, so that gave me a lot of time on my hand
Hmm.
and a lot of curiosity. So when I say curiosity, see, I had a very rough and violent past, but to cover up all that, I had something called time on my hands. And when I became an adult, I made sure that I had the time on my hands still, and which had multiple consequences on my life, which uh, was a conscious call that I had taken to have this time on my hands continuously. So it all started when I just started scribbling in my phone. I downloaded some very basic apps, and I
So, when
used.
was this? Like, what year?
I think it was around 2017.
Oh,
2017. I think after this podcast, I'll send you my first artwork. It's just scribbles, just scribbling. The only thing which kept me going in this particular path of digital art was that consistency. Consistency, and I had zero exposure towards art. I didn't even think that art is going to be a medium for venting out my emotions. But it only because of the steady, what do you call, the steady practice or exposure towards uh, digital art. I started drawing, I started sketching. Slowly, I started understanding the techniques that involve in the digital. It's like you are given a machine, and that machine, you know how to operate it. You know the nuances of it and what all uh, is required to perform that particular operation. Operation, when I say action. So I started understanding each and every parameter of the particular tools. I started learning how to do symmetrical art. I started learning about layers, opacity, the color wheel, how to control the hue, saturation, and how to control the levels of the particular
so
canvas.
it's very much self-learned.
Self-learn. I did not. I see. You're given a phone. You're given exposure to digital technology. There is always YouTube. There is always lessons. I actually invested. This is all investment. The drive factor was yes, there is something, a new space where I can explore. I can explore digital art. But when I started learning, the interest, as I said, from my childhood, I had two things constant, which is curiosity and laws of time. It helped me learn new things over here, implement the same thing in that particular art space, in the canvas. And I had few well-wishers who donated iPad to me, knowing that okay, this is something which this guy is interested in. So I had
We should give a
well-wishers.
big shout out to them
Yeah.
so that, now that we are able to have such wonderful things, we are able to see such wonderful things because of the
So
iPad.
my first tool where I practiced artworks was from a borrowed iPad. And due to some other reason, I had to give the iPad back to them. And another well-wisher came into my life, and that person gifted me the iPad, which I have right now, wherein I do my artworks. So it's slowly but very, 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 very steadily I was able to build. Right now, I think I have around 15K followers, but
Wow.
all that was built over time in this three plus three, 6 years.
I think that's really a difficult milestone to achieve.
Yeah, I don't know if I started early, I don't know if I started late, but I started. I started something which I truly believe that it is a very, very niche area that I have covered, where I have something called a USP to it. And my USP is I am an abstract artist, and this abstractness is actually helping me. It helped me vent out my emotions. It helped me vent out all the you know emotions through the artworks that I make. So I have an artwork where I had a cut in my thumb back then. I put that particular parameter in my artwork where you can see that my thumb is cut. So it's very nice feeling when you finish the artwork and you've put your signature over it saying that okay, this artwork is now complete. That's a very nice feeling.
Do you have that artwork in your Instagram? Like, can the viewer see
Yes.
it?
Yes.
Okay, we'll definitely link that up, during this conversation.
Sure.
I'll just add it up so that
Sure.
people also can see it. So I think we got to understand, right, like what was the background and how it all began. So it is once again, I'm just, I feel like I'm just blown by hearing all of this, and this is something that's unique and new to learn for me also. And hopefully, this through this podcast, the I Aspire podcast, the whole idea behind the I Aspire is to find people with aspiration, people like you. This was a aspiring story for me to hear. And there might be a lot of young people, who's gonna be watching this, and they might want to start something like this. So do you have any advice for them?
Just start. I'm telling you, just start. You might not know what it is going to show you, but if it helps your desire fulfill. When I say desire, I have my desire to get out of my day job,
Okay.
and I want to just be an artist. Be an artist in any way possible. See, I uh, only when I had the time on my hands, I was able to explore myself, saying that yes, I'm able to do some artworks. I can whistle, I sing, I do jam with my friends. I have my fun, but all that fun and all that thing should help you fulfill your desire slash passion or vision, whatever you want to call it. If something helps showcase your true self, I believe this is my true self, not the day job. Day job is something which I just go with the crowd. I just want to be with my crowd and do the do the job that help me fulfill my day-to-day expenses or a regular living.
Okay,
But
so that brings me to a question, right? So a lot of people, we have a lot of things to do. A lot of people are really passionate about certain things. So, and when we enter this corporate field, it's really gets difficult to balance things off. How do you manage? It's so.
see, as I said, during the day, I have a job, but night I become Batman. I become Batman where when all of you are asleep, I have my own gala time.
Hmm.
Mostly, I'm most of a morning person. I start my day very early.
Hmm.
When I say very early, I mean like 3 or 4 o'clock.
Hmm.
So during the early dawn of the day,
Hmm.
from 3 o'clock till I start getting ready,
Hmm.
that is when I have my time where my passion is at fullest.
Hmm.
So I quickly get up, get freshened, and I might go for a short drive,
Hmm.
come back, and then start drawing. So if I think of the routine, I start drawing before I started doing artworks. I used to go for a drive. I sing, I whistle, but that's the time where you are in your fullest of your potential, and
Hmm.
you should just identify that particular time where you're really comfortable with, and you're able to explore your artistic side or whatever creative side that you have. There will definitely be in a day where you are in your fullest of your potential, and that will be a comfortable sweet spot where you can explore on that particular day. I identified that particular day, and I never miss that often. I never miss that. I try to utilize the time most of the times, and the golden time in this entire comfortable sweet spot is during the weekends.
Hmm.
When after the Friday evening, and I sleep immediately. The Saturday morning, when the entire population is almost asleep
Hmm.
and not much people outside, that's the fullest of my potential where I start doing art. The drive towards your goal, if you want to really get into explore your artistic side, the passion will only take to a certain amount of time. It will
Hmm.
only drive for some time. The the factor that is going to drive further is only the discipline that brings out uh, the outputs. The discipline which I followed was I sincerely learned the
Hmm.
tools, how each and every tool in the digital workspace, how the technique works. I learned it by myself and followed the strict discipline of utilizing that sweet spot where I'm having the fullest potential of doing my artworks. That's when these are the two factors that help me drive and get into this space. See, this space is also very. I'm very humbled by the time by the invite that you have given. But this space is also not which I want. My vision is really far where I'm able to express or give an understanding to the viewer who is seeing my artwork, a complete understanding of how an abstract art is. What kind of uh, uh, what kind of outputs you'll be able to bring from this abstract artworks is something which I want to convey to the viewer who is seeing my artwork.
So I think that sums up the whole idea of what is Pareidolia artwork. And if you haven't explored yet, once again, just go check out Dribble Labs. Wonderful page. I'll be linking that in the description and everywhere. So yeah. So coming to that, coming to NFTs. So I recently saw. I don't know much about it, but Snoop Dogg's NFT or like Eminem's NFT, hip hop artists I follow. So I know a bit. That's how I got introduced to NFT. So, how is that linked to the work that you're doing?
So NFT is nothing but you have a digital copyright to
Mm.
the artworks that you create.
Mm.
So uh, I have converted all of my artworks into a all of my artworks I have uploaded into a marketplace.
Oh,
See, you are from the catalog field, and I
yeah.
am from the catalog field.
Yeah.
You and I understand that you need to have a record
Yeah.
entered into some database
Mm.
which has an ID created for your art.
Mm.
So that ID is what is the digital copyright for your
Mm.
their artwork.
Hmm.
So, see, getting a copyright, a physical copyright, getting it approved from the government
Hmm.
is actually costly. You will have to spend a lot of time, a lot of money to get that particular one copyright for one of your artwork. But NFT, but with NFTs, you will be able to create a digital. You'll be able to get a digital copyright for your artwork, which nobody can claim.
Oh. So, like we were discussing about NFTs and creating a digital copyright and nobody can claim it. So, like a lot of people are might be interested in trying it and like does it have a selling value? I'm just curious. Like
See, selling value is something I've heard not so good views about
hmm,
how the transactions happen in NFT marketplace.
hmm,
So I'm not here to comment for that,
hmm,
but I'm here to say that it doesn't cost much. It doesn't cost anything actually. In fact, to list your uh, product in NFT
hmm,
in the NFT marketplace, you don't need to pay excess money to list your products. But when a transaction happens, when your artwork gets sold, that time there will be a cost involved where you'll have to pay a fee to the marketplace, where you'll have to pay a fee to the seller. Sorry, the buyer has to pay a fee to the marketplace. There is cost involved when there is transaction happening, where when the sale is happening. But there is no cost involved to list and obtain a listing ID for your for your product.
hmm.
So that is something which anybody and everybody should explore, even if you're not a digital artist. If you have all your artworks in a canvas, click a picture of it. You'll be able to create a listing in the marketplace, list your product. Whenever anybody likes your artwork, they'll be able to place an order, they'll be able to place a bid for the particular artwork, and a transaction can happen. Then cost comes into place. But everybody should have a digital copyright.
Yeah, if they're into
That's
digital art.
NFT. Yes, not just digital art. You're into music. You will be able to obtain
Yes.
NFT ID or a listing ID for your you know songs
Music.
for your music.
Oh, that
You
is.
get a copyrighted version of it. Anybody who likes it will be able to place an order under the particular listing ID,
Hmm.
obtain your music, use it in their albums. So everybody should try NFTs. I'm not here to comment on
Yeah.
whether you'll be able to make money or no, but get your data copyrighted, which is very important in this digital space.
Hmm.
NFTs might not be doing well right now. There are certain in India, it's going to be taxable.
Hmm.
The the what the conversion or whatever the what do you call that, the currency that you use
Hmm.
in the digital transactions might not have value right now. It might change, it might not change. Just get your copyright digital copyright ready. No harm in that.
That is really something new to know. Even I didn't know that music can also be.
Music can be done,
Ah,
art can be done. If you have a special talent, you have a USP towards your artworks, get it copyrighted. There's no harm in it.
this is definitely a new
And it's
information.
free. It's free to
Oh,
list your products.
that is great. I think that pretty much sums up the episode, and it's really a lot of things that I was able to get through this podcast. NFTs, the digital art, the periodic art, and yeah, I would say just keep inspiring us, and
Sure,
we will also maybe figure out something in the
sure.
future. And yeah, so that was Mr. Gowri Shankar Nagarajan on the I Aspire podcast with Rachnatmak. And this is pretty much the end. I feel like, there's so much we can explore. So let us know if you guys are interested in listening more. We can definitely do a part two of it. And shout out to this place, Our
Yeah,
Girls Cafe. Always we are welcomed here. Wonderful cappuccino, wonderful cold cafe. And just come to Koramangala, check this place out, chill, have fun. Yeah, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, man.
Thank you.